Hello, I'm Fredrick, and this is A Golfer's Walk. Today, we're going to talk about broadcast golf, and is it racist? Is it ignorance? What exactly is it? They all talk about doing stuff for the good of the game, but what are they really doing? And what could be done? And more importantly, what can you do to help? So on this channel, we talk about golf. All things golf, because this is really about a golfer's walk. All the things that you may come across. And part of that is trying to grow the game. Or everybody talks about, well, I'm doing this to grow the game. And there are a lot of things that people are doing that they say they're doing it to grow the game. A lot of the stuff that's on Instagram, I don't think that helps with growing the game. And I think we all know what we're talking about there. But I hear a lot on TV where they talk about, well, we want to help grow the game. What does that mean? When I watch the telecasts, I see the same kind of telecasts year after year with very minor changes. So if we look at what's being done outside of the broadcast of golf, but look at what the USGA or the First Tee or lots of great organizations, the Tiger Woods Foundation, and the work that they're doing all over the world to try and get golfers interested or give them the opportunity to play the game, there's a lot of great stuff there. I think that the advent of the social media, especially Instagram and YouTube, probably YouTube more than anything else, is that it's putting golf content in front of people that maybe are not golfers. A couple of people that come to mind that are great at this is, of course, Erik Lang. He is a gentleman who really was more into creating documentaries, not necessarily about golf, but just to create documentaries, not someone that would be in front of the camera. He came to love the game, and he started he was given an opportunity to do something related to golf. And he has brought a very unique view of golf. One of the great things that he talks about that is not really talked about anywhere, at least not in this country, in the United States, and that is that playing for the enjoyment of the game and trying to hit good shots or to have a match and it's going hole by hole as opposed to always going for a score. Because for the average player or not very good player, going for the score all the time can become very frustrating. Even for very good players, we all know that, you know, one bad hole, hit one shot out of bounds, suddenly you make a triple bogey on a hole, and really you feel like the whole round is gone because you're not going to shoot, you're not as likely to shoot around par or shoot under par and shoot a really good score anymore. So you could have 17 other really good holes and have a great round, but the one hole could really ruin the round. In match play, that just wouldn't be the case. And so whenever he tries to shoot for a score, he has a great series about breaking 90 on some championship golf courses. It becomes very frustrating because his focus is now on score instead of just enjoying the game. But he brings a great new perspective, and he has gotten many people to want to play golf that didn't before. You take someone like GM Golf, who is a young man out of Kansas, or that's where he had grown up, did a lot of trick shots, became very famous for that, had a YouTube channel that morphed into doing other things, including playing out in the golf course, lots of challenges, just a phenomenal talent. And he got people that were not interested in golf at all, especially a very young generation, who just thought he was funny, the shots he hit people could appreciate that weren't necessarily golfers just go, wow, I mean, that was really incredible. And so he's gotten a lot of people interested in the game and playing the game and to come out and see him that weren't necessarily golfers. And you take someone like Brodie Smith, another individual who has a tremendous presence on YouTube and other platforms, who became very famous for his ability to play frisbee. I don't recall exactly the correct term. You could put it down in the comments for me. But he played competitively and made a tremendous name for himself. He got into golf. He took that following of people who were not really golfers, or a lot of them weren't, who became very interested in what he was doing and found a very fun way of presenting golf. Now, for maybe the traditionalists, you would go, "Oh, you shouldn't yell like that, or you shouldn't be so animated." Okay, well, maybe that's not the way that, that individual may not want to, but there's a lot of people who were attracted to the game because they found it to be very, very fun, as opposed to how it's presented on TV all the time, usually very stoic. I mean, when Tiger Woods came out and he was fist pumping and yelling, that was a bit unusual in the way that he did it versus a lot of other people, and people were like, "Oh, I don't know." But the reality was, it was exciting. It was great to see some life out of a player like that. So that is kind of how people can be growing the game in a social media aspect. We know that when Tiger Woods came out, the fact that he was not the typical player on tour, he was not white, and so as a person of color, that there was still a lot of racism in a lot of clubs, and where people of color were not allowed to join. And so Tiger, by being someone of color, had the ability to reach people who said, "Oh wow, look, there's someone that looks more like me," as opposed to the standard player out there. And as a result, he brought a lot of people into the game. So when I look at what the telecasts are doing, this year they got rid of some of the most colorful people out there. I mean, they didn't renew the contract, at least that's what it's publicized, they didn't renew the contract to Gary McCord, which, if you follow golf for any period of time, he's always been, an unusual character. He's not the typical tour pro who's just going to give you, standard information and just kind of, ho-hum, the old adage of, it's just everybody talks in a monotone voice and no excitement. And he brought fun to it. David Feherty, same way. Well, for some reason, they didn't renew the contract of Gary McCord, and they didn't renew the contract for Peter Kostis, not a tour pro. He was a great teacher. So someone that could actually bring something different to the telecast, someone that was actually a teacher as opposed to a player. Some players may know something about the golf swing, or at least their golf swing. It doesn't necessarily make them great teachers. I thought Peter brought a great different perspective to it because he really was able to come at it from a teaching perspective when they would analyze golf swings. So they got rid of those, and so they had an opportunity to bring a new face into the game. And who did they bring in? They brought in Davis Love. Now, this is not about Davis Love. I love Davis Love. When I was in college and playing college golf, I looked up to Davis Love. He was an amazing golfer. He did things with the golf ball that really no one was doing. The way he was hitting the ball so long, his golf swing was beautiful. But Davis was never an excitable guy. I mean, it was very unusual to see any kind of emotion out of him at all. His interviews were not what I would ever call fun or exciting. And again, this is not a knock on Davis, because I love him and I would love to watch him and all that. But as a commentator, I don't know. Maybe I'm completely ignorant, and maybe he'll turn out to be great. Thus far, it's been very vanilla, and I don't think he's brought anything to the telecast. Again, this is not about Davis. But here's the opportunity that the networks missed. They talk about the desire to grow the game, yet all they did was stick another white, preppy person on a telecast. And if you look at the telecast and the people that are doing this, there is no diversity in this group. It's hard to find a person of color. The only one that I was able to find was Mike Tirico, who is really not on a whole lot, and he is a tremendous talent, and I think that it's great that he is on there. But there is not any great diversity there. There are plenty of players, if you wanted to pull from a player pool, that you could have put in there, because Davis, again, is not bringing anything exceptional or unusual to the telecast. So they didn't do that. There are hardly any women. They talk about that they want to grow the game with women golfers. Well, if you have someone like Augusta who has done such a great job, and they talk about how great it was that they put a women's amateur event on right before the Masters and how much publicity that has helped, the Masters has actually done something to help that, like a very visible. That's got a lot of publicity on TV. So who are the female commentators? Well, there are a couple. The most notable is Dottie Pepper, who is a tremendous talent on air. I find her to be very enjoyable to listen to and a different perspective. If there aren't that many people that are really watching the women's game in comparison to the men's game, the opportunity to reach those young girls or ladies is through the telecast. And I think there needs to be a greater push to have a different perspective. This is not about filling a quota. This is, if you want to grow the game, then let the game and the telecast reflect more of what the game is or the people that you're trying to reach. So this brings me to my last area. There are more people watching average players play on YouTube each week than there are watching any of the tournaments, maybe the Masters. But even then, I'm sure. So what are the networks doing about it? Well, one of them signed Michelle Wee to be their person that handles some of their social media stuff, and that's great. Haven't seen her. She's not really going to be a part of these telecasts or big presence. I haven't seen it. I haven't really seen a segment on this. How great would it be that if 1 week you had GM Golf or Garrett go and become a commentator, or maybe a few weeks a year? What an interesting perspective that would be from someone like him, or a young, very young person, or just an average golfer, or in Garrett's case, a pretty good golfer, talking about what's going on. There are enough people there. We don't have to have every shot and everything analyzed and talked about by someone who played the tour for a number of years. We just don't. Now think about this. Imagine what would happen to those telecast numbers if instead, in that week leading up to when Garrett's going to be on there, he talks about that, hey, I'm here publicizing the event, everything that's going on. Make sure you tune in this weekend. I'm going to be on. What would happen to the ratings? How about we don't care about the ratings, but the fact that you will get people now to watch golf and to see it in a different light that he brings over, or people that were kind of casually tuning in and saw Garrett. How could that not grow the game? Now, I've seen where Erik Anders Lang has been not really a part of the telecast per se, but he has been on Golf Central as part of the kind of the pre-game, or the I think it's called Game Central, before, I believe it was the Phoenix Open. And he's great because he lends a different perspective. You know, golf doesn't always have to be about the really good players and about how good they can play. It can also be about a different perspective and maybe someone else's look. How about if you had some of those people on social media that were able to lend maybe a segment that talks about different things or a different challenge? I mean, GM does such a great job with all these crazy challenges, right? And there's a lot of other golfers that do similar type things. People that I enjoy following, someone like Andrew Jensen, who does this. He does a lot of these challenges, knows a lot of these same players. He is a guy trying to make it. He playing the mini tours, trying to work his way up. Again, a different perspective, but how cool would that be? Or see what it is like for those guys trying to make it up each week. Not just the guys on, doing a summary of what happened, that week on the whatever it's called now, the buy.com or whatever the name of it is. I'm sure I'll flash it on here. But how about just something different where maybe on Tuesday of that week, some of those challenges, Garrett's out on the golf course and he challenges, one of the pros to play the 7th hole with just a 6-iron and see who could do what. How fun would that be? Every time we go out to play, it doesn't have to be so serious to shoot the lowest score possible. Make it fun. Get people interested. How about something completely different, right? How about Carolina, the fit golfer girl? Huge presence on Instagram. She works with a lot of players of all abilities and age ranges down in Florida to help them with golf-specific exercises. She has a YouTube channel, also has a lot of great content there to help people out. Why not have her in? Female, Latina, that could bring a lot of her crowd over to watch it. But nothing's being done. How about some of the great people on social media that are of color? There's a great duo out of California called the Bogey Brothas. And there's Two Putt, Bogey Smalls, and these guys are funny. They're not good golfers. When they first started, they were really not good golfers at all. But it didn't mean they didn't have a good time. It didn't mean that they weren't able to entertain me and a lot of people. Their channel is growing very fast. And how great would it be for them to be a part of a telecast, to kind of ask questions about what's going on from a different perspective, or go out and have interviews, or do something other than the same telecast over and over again. Look, I enjoy the telecasts as they are because I'm just a hardcore golfer, but the truth is I don't necessarily want to watch every day all the time because there's just not a lot going on. I can see updates and stuff like that unless there's something special to see, right? Oh, Tiger's in contention? Oh, I want to tune in. But you know what? If I knew that Garrett or Carolina or the Bogey Brothers were on, I would absolutely tune in because how cool would that be to see something different? I don't know why the broadcast networks haven't done more in this, and I'm sure that it's not an overt racist thing to exclude women or to exclude minorities. They have to be aware. They have to be aware of social media and what is going on out there, or they should be, and how much that can bring to the game. So what can do? What can you do about it, right? Well, there's a lot you can do with it. We can get people to talk about this. We don't need to threaten anyone. We don't need to boycott anyone, but we need to make it known to these people that this would be a great idea. If they see an interest, then I think that they would try it out. So here's what I think you can do. Do me a favor, reach out to people that you think would be great and ask them to check out the video, this video here, to hear what I have to say, and ask them to do something to kind of, on their medium, on their Instagram, on their YouTube, on LinkedIn, whatever platform they're using, do something to kind of give their opinion on this. So contact Fit Golfer Girl, contact the Bogey Brothers, contact Brodie Smith, contact GM Golf, contact Rick Shields. They're over in Europe, and those guys, him and James Robinson and Peter Finch, a lot of great YouTube channels. They also could have an impact. I am sure that they would agree that this would be something that would be of value to the game to help grow the game. So there are a number of people that I think have a really big impact on this. A few of them, Golficity, the Golf Clan, Dyson Golf, Be Better Golf, TXG, of course Zac Radford, the king of Sting, Top Bloke, Golf Vlogs USA, Lloydigolf, Savage Dezi, Tye Boone Golf, Knock Stiff Golf, which I have to say thank you. He is the inspiration for me doing this. Joey D Golf, and there are a host of others. So I'm going to list a bunch of them down below in the description. I'm going to have their YouTube channels as well as their handles on Instagram. You can go watch one of their videos, comment on it, asking them on their latest video to watch this video and what's their opinion, and ask them to do a video or a post on their Instagram about it. DM them. We can do this. Share this with friends. Get people talking about it. Post it on Facebook. Get people talking about it. If people start talking about it, they have to pay attention. Again, this is not about a boycott or anything, but this is just raising awareness of some alternatives. And there's a lot of different things that could be done, I'm sure. I just tried to throw out a few, and I'm sure you have a lot. So if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and please share this video. We actually could help to grow the game.